Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live. I'm joined by Steve, Kate, and Jerome Marks. How you doing, boys?
Good evening, mate. Yeah, very good. Very nervous. Very excited. All in words. Yeah.
All right. And Jerome, how you doing?
Yeah, fine. All good.
Good.
No, you're not. No, you're not, Jerome. No, you're not. You're not. Off air, he was a bag of nerves.
Surely not. Bag of nerves about what? There should be no pressure. Why? There should be no pressure. No pressure. As people may be watching the Youth FA Cup final, if you're not, why are you not? You should have two screens open on YouTube. One on the Youth FA Cup final, Arsenal versus West Ham, and the other on this one. All right. Make sure you get in. I think Arsenal are down 2-1 last time I checked, but it's half time currently now. So we will keep an eye on that one. We'll keep tabs on the game. So we will see. But first and foremost, we're going to be getting onto Arsenal Stadium. We're going to be talking about the pressures and Arsenal and can they handle it. We're going to be going into the Manchester City preview and talking about many other things, all things Arsenal that have come up. Jerome, didn't speak to you on Friday. Did you see the game on Friday? The 3-1, game all over, 2 minutes left, Arsenal put it back to 3-2. It was definitely 2 points dropped. What was your thoughts on the game?
It was deja vu, the start, wasn't it? It was Bournemouth all over again, but worse. Honestly, I couldn't believe that start. I couldn't believe it. And it's not only that game, like we just look vulnerable just from every kickoff we look like we're going to concede. Like it's ridiculous, really. So obviously the start was terrible. I mean, you're just chasing the game, and you're not panicking, but you're probably playing differently to how you would normally play if the score was 0-0. Terrible result. It's hard to really talk about the performance because I think once that first goal went in, it just changes everything. Yeah, confidence, morale, the game plan, maybe. The other team, obviously, it lifts them.
Yeah,
and then obviously conceding the second. It was like, this is ridiculous. Now it's like even more ridiculous.
What do you think's going on at the moment? Because obviously there was a 2-2 draw against Liverpool. I don't know how you took that one. Then there was the 2-2 draw against West Ham after being 2-0 up, similar to against Liverpool. And then there was 3-1 down against Southampton to put it back to the last minute for 3-0. What do you think it is? What do you think is going on at the moment? Why do you think we're not getting the results we want?
I don't think you can just pin it on one thing. I think you got to look at each game and what happened. Liverpool won. They're a bloody good team. Like you can beat Liverpool and they can come back. It can happen. They're especially now that you can see they're playing well and they got an outside chance of coming top 4, which looked miles off middle of the season. The West Ham one was bad. That was just I think they got complacent and thought the game was too easy for them. Like that was complacency. And it's hard to start well, to drop a bit and then pick it up again. Like that is, unless you've killed the game, I don't think you can sort of take your foot off the gas. So that was that one. And then the Southampton one was just a terrible start, and that then, like I said, that alters the rest of the game. So I don't think there's one thing. Look, we're missing an incredible player, and that has a knock-on effect. You don't just miss him and what he does; you miss what he can do to the other players around him. So that is a big thing. Obviously, that's massive. And I said it like on one of the last podcasts we did. I said about playing Palace and Leeds at home is one thing, but playing Liverpool away is different kettle of fish. But that obviously doesn't count for the last 2 games.
So does that make it all the more disappointing when you drop points to Southampton? Although they are a bogey team, anyone that is an Arsenal supporter knows that for some reason, when it comes to Southampton, there's just, I don't know whether it's home or it's usually away, we somehow struggle.
Very strange.
Drop points last season. I remember dropping points when what's his name? Who's that big lump up front? That used to, who was it? Who was the big lump up front that was at
Southampton.
Yeah, only a couple of seasons ago. Charlie Austin. Charlie Austin. That game.
Yeah.
Something about Southampton. We seem to drop points every now and again, and usually at vital times. So it must have been even more disappointing that we dropped points against, again, a team fighting relegation. Or are people underestimating the teams that are fighting relegation?
I don't know. It's a bad night at the office.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, we're only missing like really one of our starters. Oh, sorry, two Southampton. But I mean, it was terrible. Terrible. We just looked so wide open.
Yeah,
like, it looked like we could have conceded more as well. Like, yeah, very vulnerable.
Steve, how do they come back after the Southampton? Look, it's been I still can't see the Liverpool result. Yeah, although yes, we went 2-0 up. As Jerome said, I always said I saw that as a point, a good point. Go to Anfield. Yes, you were 2-0 up. However, they can just turn it the switch of a switch. Like I know we spoke about it last night when we was talking about don't give Liverpool any excuse. But I said it before. Are you trying to tell me that from when we were 2-0 up, there was going to be nothing in that game that was going to get that crowd going? Whether it was the players at every opportunity when there's a throw trying to G up the crowd, a strong tackle, anything. And we saw where Henderson was trying to throw Saka into the stands where he was trying to get the crowd. We can't pinpoint Mikel Arteta having a go at Jurgen Klopp or Granit Xhaka having a pop at Trent Alexander-Arnold to say that lifted the crowd and we need to make sure we don't give them anything.
Yeah, I mean that. That was just total nonsense as far as I was concerned. I mean, against Liverpool, Jerome just said it there. I mean, we was playing Liverpool. They're a good side. They've got good players. They beat Man City there earlier this season. You know, they gave Manchester United an ironing there this season. You know, they're having a bad season. They're not. You know, they probably won't. You know, they'll just maybe get the Europa League places, but it's a terrible season by Liverpool standards. But at home, they're a different kettle of fish at home. They don't get beat by home. They don't just get beat by the odd team every now and then. They don't get beat by anybody at home. You know, we got a point. Any other time that would have been, people would be saying that's a great point. You know, yes, we went 2-0 up, but look, that first half, there wasn't much wrong in that game for me against Liverpool. We absolutely murdered them in the first half. You know, up to a degree where I think Jurgen Klopp probably was at half time and said you lot are an embarrassment because they Arsenal just ripped them to pieces. And in the second half, Liverpool did what Liverpool have always done. The crowd gets behind them, like they always do. And generally, when they go behind, they come back and win football matches. It's just in their DNA. They've done it over the years. You know, they've done it in Champions League games. They've done it in big matches. They do it all the time. So to pick out that particular moment was absolute nonsense. You know, and Jamie Carragher, who, you know, I'm a bit of a fan of. I like listening to Jamie Carragher, but that was absolute crap. You know, I think he was just trying to find something for his, you know, because of his team was so, in that first half, were absolute tosh.
Yeah.
You know, just to find something to pick at Arsenal with. Because at the end of the day, let's say how it is, you know, Liverpool have been very, very, very poor this season, apart from at home. So that was nonsense. The West Ham game, look, it was, you can, any other time of the year, any other moment of the year, a draw at home at West Ham, it's not a bad result either, really. It's a London derby. we keep getting told that, Arsenal playing London derbies, you've got all these London derbies. Well, we ain't done bad in London derbies. We haven't got beat in a London derby all year. With the Southampton game, combined with the West Ham game, it was just a lack of, we just switched off. And it was a lack of. It was just a shock, and we made mistakes, because even in the Southampton game, I don't think it was that we played bad. I just thought Southampton just caught us a couple of times, and it took us a while to get back in it, because, like I said last night on the podcast, people keep saying Arsenal are under pressure. Well, for me, we're not under any pressure. There's not pressure. Against Liverpool, you don't go to Liverpool and rip them to pieces in the first half. You're not a team who are worried about playing them. When you're playing West Ham away from home and you go 2-0 up, you're not coming out of the tunnel nervous. When you're playing Southampton, you go 3-1 down, and then you roll your sleeves up and go, right, come on, this is Southampton. We want to, we'll show them what we're all about now. We've made a few mistakes, and then score 2 goals in the last few minutes. That's not pressure. That's not being scared of anybody. And that's how I'm looking at it anyway.
What about when Arsenal went 1-0 down and then 2-0 down? What was it? Why couldn't they? If they've got that sense of arrogance, that sense of cockiness, that self-belief, why couldn't they switch it back on after the one mistake? Why couldn't they just put that aside, say it was a mistake, move on? They from what I was watching, they clambered up, and they were too tense. They couldn't string more than 3 passes together. Misplaced passes, positional play was poor. Not enough movement from certain players. What was the issue there? What did you see there?
Shock. I think they were just shocked, with what had happened. Sometimes you can go 1-0 down or 2-0 down, and it can just be good play from the team. But when you go 1-0 down, from like with Ramsdale, when he just throws the ball out to him after 5 seconds and the geezer kicks it in the back of the net, you're like, you've got a sort of, what's happened there? What's gone on? That wasn't in the plan. That's not what we spoke about in training during the week. What do we do now? Do we carry on? Do we go at them? Do we? We're probably in a situation where, Arsenal haven't been all season. We've gone behind in games and we've come back, but not like in that specific scenario. And I think it took us a little bit of a while to sort of get back into the game, and because we was in a place where we hadn't been before, behind that early. But okay, look, we've been behind before, but not that way. And I think, yeah,
God,
I just think it's that, mate. Yeah.
I'll ask you both. Jerome, we went early behind against Bournemouth. I think we went early behind in recent weeks as well. I can't remember what game it was. I want to say Leeds. I can't remember what it was. But we conceded a really early chance, and Ramsdale pulled off a save. But it was like back to back. Is there a problem you're seeing that we're too open early doors? In recent weeks, we haven't kept a clean sheet. Well, we haven't kept a clean sheet since Saliba's been out in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
I think, in all honesty, there's a lot at stake here. Like, we're not 25 games of the season to go now. Like, we're like in boxing, they say we're in the championship rounds. So I think just naturally, everyone's got that on their mind, and it affects how you play. I think going like 2 goals down to Southampton at home, following on from what Steve said, in their wildest dreams, Arsenal, they did not expect to be in that position. And because they didn't expect to be in that position, they probably didn't really know how to handle it. I think Arteta is so meticulous with his plans that being 2 goals down within however many minutes just didn't come into the equation. So it was just, like Steve said, they were shocked. Like, how often do you see a team get in a huddle when they're 2 goals down at home? You don't see it. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, because they knew that they were in an odd position and they needed to do something about it because it was just so unexpected.
Yeah, I'll go to that. Steve, we saw Zinchenko round up the team to sort of get them together to have a word. Can you see sometimes Zinchenko's emotions may get the better of him? Do you feel like sometimes it needs a calmer head? I noticed Zinchenko frantically trying to gather the players around, and then I saw Odegaard have a word with Zinchenko afterwards, and I thought to myself, I get you're trying to get people together, get them level-headed, but mate, you was part of the reason while we was in the mess. We are. I think you need to get yourself together first before you're gathering the team around. That's just my opinion. Can there be too much emotion in situations like that, especially from an experienced player like Zinchenko?
Yeah, I mean that did look weird, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think obviously I thought the players must have thought it was a strange thing when he was calling them over. Odegaard obviously thought it was quite strange. I'm sure the fans in the ground thought it was quite strange, and I think the only person who didn't seem to think it was strange was Zinchenko. But to answer your question about his emotions, I think you're spot on. I really do think you're spot on. I think he sometimes just gets a little bit overexcited, if you like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen him. Sometimes I've seen him as the right back on the right hand side next to Saka in games. Sometimes I see him in positions and I think, surely you ain't meant to be there. Sometimes I think he needs to just sort of stop, think, calm it, because we're at a time of the season now where we need him. He was brought in as a leadership figure to bring calmness into the younger players. But recently, especially like at the back end of the season, we've seen times where Zinchenko has, especially with the games you was talking about a little while ago, where he's come out of a position, got caught twice in 2 games, gone forward, left his man, and both times very early on, they've gone and nearly scored a goal, literally in the first 30 seconds to a minute. And the incident where he was pulling round, and it seemed to me Odegaard's gone up to Zinchenko and he said to him, he said to him and said, "Here, look, Zinny, calm down a bit, mate. It was like he was calming him down, just to say, we don't need that. Because that looks like, to me, if you've done that in front of a team, that's telling, if Southampton players are looking at that huddle, they're thinking, oh, we've got them rattled here. That's the way I would look at it anyway. But it's funny because I was thinking today, look, this not have a go at Zinchenko to a degree, because he's been absolutely outstanding for us this season. But I wouldn't be disappointed if Tierney started. Tomorrow.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Jerome, I'll ask you in a different way. I see sometimes I don't want to say it in his worst times, but I want to say sometimes when I see Zinchenko a bit frantic, it reminds me a bit of when Wojciech Szczesny used to try and rally up the players, and it was like they don't need rallying up, they need calming down. Like there's one point I remember, it felt like it was forced. Szczesny was pumping up players around the corner when it was a corner, and it was like, these players don't need to be agitated around this corner. They need to be chill. They need to be relaxed. Do you think there could be sometimes it's too much emotion coming from Zinchenko? Or do you think they need it?
I think it really depends on the circumstances, to be honest. With the huddle, it's strange because we never really see it. But to be honest with you, I don't see too many issues with it. I mean, we're in a horrific position he's tried to gather them round, and obviously we don't know what's been said, but I think it's quite a good idea, like to maybe pass on some information, try and I don't know, knock their heads together or something. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with it, but it is strange to see. He can get too emotional at times, but look, you can't win, can you? It's like with managers on the sidelines. People say, "I want to see them show emotion," then they show too much. I don't know if he was like this at City, because obviously we didn't watch City as much, but I think he's obviously such a winner that he wants this so badly, because I think it'd be such a big statement to go from Man City to Arsenal and then win the league with Arsenal. I think he really wants this. I think if he was to go to another club in another league, where he wasn't competing against City, I don't think he'd be as passionate as this.
Yeah, I get you.
I think he's got a deep feeling of wanting to win, and especially it's like I think he needs to prove himself. Look, he wasn't a regular starter at City. Neither was Jesus really, but he definitely wasn't. So I think there's an element of wanting to prove himself. When you want to prove yourself, sometimes you do go overboard a bit. But I can't knock Zinchenko. You know, we're really like clutching at straws.
There's this also this thing, isn't there? Where I mean, I don't know if I'm sure you have noticed it, where like a player will go down injured, or Ramsdale will go down injured, or someone will go down injured, and then everyone's over to Arteta and they're having a talk. And it always seems to be when we're under pressure. And I don't see any other team do that. Whether I'm just noticing it more because it's Arsenal. And to me, it's plain to see there's nothing wrong with them. It's just because we've over the last 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you know, the other teams had us under a little bit of pressure. And it always happens. Gabriel and Ramsdale seem to be the main culprits of doing it. Yeah. You know, they'll go down. But especially if the corners come. Yeah.
I think we're so heavy. We're so heavy on the tactics side that any opportunity we can get to discuss things, I think they want to take them. It's not like the old Wenger days when it was like, right, just go out and play your football, and you know we won't worry about the opposition. We'll just go and enjoy yourselves and express yourselves. This is like heavily tactical, and so with that, he wants to keep reminding the players, or if he sees things in games, like it's just a totally different way of coaching the team. And I don't really mind it, to be fair, but I don't mind it if we're picking up results. If you're drawing games,
well, that's the thing, isn't it?
It does. It's not a good look,
and
that's what people can sort of.
Yeah, this is no knock on Zinchenko. I just think there are times when, like, because he's an emotional person, like you just type in Zinchenko crying, and there's more pictures of him crying than you would see, like most men anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So he's an emotional guy, and it doesn't even need to be like crying about the situation in Ukraine when he got given the captaincy.
That's a part of it, Kieran.
There was times when he's just leaving Man City crying. I think there's a couple of times when they've won something and he's crying. But it's like, and he wasn't even crying the other day. I don't like the fact they said he was crying when he came off against Liverpool after he didn't have a great game. But it's just, I've seen moments like that where your key figures that are looked upon in certain times, when they look like they're in despair, it's not a good look for people that might look up to you. Do you know what I mean? Because it can give us a message. This is just my personal opinion. It can give us a message. The despair that Zinchenko shows after Arsenal dropped points to Liverpool, he's probably gutted because he's thinking this was our big opportunity to get some serious points against a decent team. Yeah, it's just sometimes those key figures probably I personally think need to hide their emotions a bit sometimes. That's my personal opinion, because they're looked upon in a different way. And if you're seen to be breaking down or seem to be like you're so distraught, it can rub off on other people, especially when there's a lot of youngsters looking up to you. Again, this is not a dig. I just think as certain figures, and I think as we go on and we get more experienced players, I don't think people will look to Zinchenko as much as you're the guy, the leader in that way. They might look at him in a different way. But I me personally, I want some people to just hold it in sometimes, especially when we've lost a lead like that. I don't think having your head in your hands and looking in despair is the look that you should be going for. Especially when since then, I'm not saying this is any relation to Zinchenko. I'm just saying since we dropped points against Liverpool, the games that we've had since, if we win those games, it's a completely different situation. We're going into the Man City game. Like it's not even a case where we have to win. It's a case where we just a draw is a very good result. I don't think the Liverpool game is a time to feel so much despair. Like it looked like it was all over, and it certainly wasn't, because as we've seen, it's still not over now, and we've still got plenty to go in the season.
No, definitely.
Before we got to the Manchester City preview, William Saliba will be missing the game, and it looks like Granit Xhaka is going to be a doubt. Steve, how much of a miss do you think Saliba's been? Because he's obviously missed the five games. I know we've missed Granit Xhaka in the last game, but how much of a miss do you think Saliba's been?
He's a miss. Obviously, you can't say he hasn't. He's not a miss, because he's a fantastic footballer, and arguably one of the top 3 centre halves in the Premiership this year. That's without any shadow of a doubt. But Holdings came in, and to be fair, I'm seeing a lot of Holding. I'm seeing him getting a lot of critics from fans, rival fans, and from people from pundits. And I've watched all the Arsenal games, and I don't think we've missed Saliba as much as what people were saying. We've missed him without, but Holding hasn't done a lot wrong. To be, when I've analysed these matches on post matches, it's very rarely. I mean, he made that mistake for the penalty, but other than that, he's not done too bad. Mm-hmm. But Saliba's a massive miss. Do I worry about tomorrow with Saliba not in the side? Yes, I do. Saying that, Holding tied him up, Ireland. Before, he never got kicked hardly. Thought Holding did really well against him, so hopefully he'll do well against him again. Mm-hmm. But he's a massive miss. He's a Rolls Royce of a centre half, and I'd rather have him there tomorrow than not. But again, he's I'm just praying that Rob Holding will do the business for us, and because we need to win, and I hope he has a good game. And to be fair to him, what I will say is that I'm not as worried about having Rob Holding in the side tomorrow as I would have been when Saliba first got injured. Mm-hmm. So that gives Rob Holding a little bit of praise for me. But yeah, definitely a massive loss.
Jerome, do you feel like Saliba's a loss? Are you worried for his return?
Yeah, very, very, very worried. To be fair, yeah, obviously we don't know when he's going to come back. Mm-hmm. So he's got a decision to make, the manager. Holding, he hasn't made any. What's that?
No, just saying, mate. No, you said he's got a decision. That's interesting.
I think he has, because in my opinion, I just think that in this game against Man City, with holding in the defence, as well as he's done, like, I just think, we're in trouble, basically.
What's the decision?
Whether to stick with holding or to try something new, because I don't look. I don't.
What did you put in?
What is it?
He's not at the level holding. He can't do it against these. He just can't do it. Like,
who do you put in?
That's it. I don't know. I don't know whether you either. This is it. We haven't, because Tomiyasu is out. That's mucked us up as well. So I just think you play holding against Haaland at City, like you're asking for trouble.
He did well against him last time, though. Did really?
He done all right. He played a half against him, and he had a couple of instances where they didn't look great. I'm super worried about it, to be honest. I just think he's out against that sort of player. He's way out of his depth.
Do you see any alternative though?
The only alternative is if you play Tierney and Zinchenko as your two fullbacks. So you have to put Tierney or Zinchenko at right back, and you put Ben White as centre back. But I don't think he'll do it. I think he'll stick with holding. If you want my opinion, I think if we play holding in this game, I think we lose. I think we lose it. I think we're going to concede too many goals where we won't be able to score more than them. Is my opinion. Holding plays.
Yeah, we get onto the Man City preview in just a second, because that is interesting. In fact, let's get onto it now. It's the Manchester City preview. So obviously, there's some key figures out. Steve, Granit Xhaka missed massively in the midfield in the last game against Southampton. How would you go with the game with regards to just the midfield options? Thomas Partey didn't have the best of games. Fabio Vieira comes in. Who do you start in that central midfield?
Well, yeah, I mean Thomas Partey's got a start, but that was his worst game in an Arsenal shirt the other day. I've never stat. I mean, and to be fair, last season he had some bad ones. But he's been showing what he's all about recently, especially this season. But he was awful. I thought he was the worst player on the pitch. I think I said in the post-match after the game, I thought he was absolutely terrible. Oh, he wasn't on the worst player on the pitch, because there was Vieira was. Yeah, Vieira was the worst player on the pitch. So, he got by, and but Thomas Partey, hopefully that was just a one-off. And he'll be back to his best, so he will play. Pray to God, Granit Xhaka's playing.
It says he's a doubt, doesn't it? Yeah,
I got a funny feeling he might. He didn't train today. It doesn't look like. Although, from what I'm hearing, he's there's still he looks like he could play tomorrow. We'll see. If he's not, then I'm probably more worried about that than Rob Holding for me, because Granit Xhaka just does something. We keep saying about the Partey Xhaka thing, but they're a pair. They're like Siamese twins. They need each other. Partey's not the same without Xhaka. Xhaka's not the same without Partey. They need each other. So I just hope that he's there. Vieira, I would definitely not be starting Vieira. But look, if Xhaka's not fit, then so it's a Xhaka or Jorginho thing. I'd bring Jorginho in, definitely, and then obviously Odegaard. Then, so yeah, it would just be if Xhaka plays, hopefully fingers crossed with Partey. If not, Jorginho, and then Odegaard in the front. But as I said, I just feel that, how long. I think every Arsenal fan, and it just shows you how far Jack has come. They should be absolutely praying that he's fit tomorrow, because we ain't got no one like him to take his place.
Jerome, if Granit Xhaka looks like a doubt, I'm guessing you wouldn't go with Vieira in that middle. What's the options for you?
I think you've got to play Jorginho. I don't think there's anyone else.
He went for Trossard the other day.
He started Vieira, didn't he? He started Vieira when Xhaka wasn't there.
Yeah,
I don't think you can't play Vieira and Odegaard in the same team.
No, I
Like,
agree.
I've said that before.
and I don't look. Obviously, Smith Rowe hasn't played all season, but again, Smith Rowe, I don't think
Smith
he's
Rowe.
I don't think he's that sort of player either. Smith Rowe. You need. I think you need two good central midfielders in your team, especially if you've got one of your main centre backs out, because you've got zero protection. If Partey does make a mistake, then that's it. You're in a mess. So you need two proper central midfielders in the team, whether that's Xhaka and Partey, and Jorginho. You need two proper central midfielders.
Jerome, what about Zinchenko if Xhaka's not fit?
He's never played in there. We've had the whole season about Zinchenko playing in midfield. He's not played in there once. Not even, I don't think, like at the end of a game, like for 10 minutes. He just has not played in there at all. So I don't think we'll see it.
No. Do you see that as an option, a viable option, to bring in Kieran Tierney on the left and have Zinchenko play as a central midfielder?
No.
No,
it's an option, but he won't. There's no way in hell he'll do it. No chance. He wants.
Would you play that option?
Pardon?
Would you play that option?
I don't know. It's like a bit of risk, isn't it? I don't know what that looks like in our team.
Yeah, and against Man City, like. This is the thing. Is it the time to be trying something different against Man City, or just making sure you just play at your best and keep it tight?
You know what? It all depends on the outcome. If you try something new and it doesn't come off, then what did he change it for?
Here's another one, Jerome. What do you think? What do you think about this? We're going to Manchester City. Do we play our own game? Yeah. Do we just play out? We've been playing all season, or let's just say Xhaka is fit. We know what Xhaka does. Xhaka's very good at going forward. You know, he gets in the box. He can start off play. He can push. Blah 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 blah. Jorginho is probably more defensive. Some people might say, well, let's play Jorginho anyway instead of Xhaka, because we may need to defend more than go forward, or do we just play our normal game?
I don't want to go to the Etihad Stadium and try and defend for 90 minutes. I think we'd be in a sorry state of affairs if we try and do that. We'd be trying to do that anyway, even if we were trying to attack them, because it's Man City, and as soon as they hit us on the break, because ping, 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 it's a shot on goal. I think the 2 times we played them last, even 3 times we played them last, we've come out with our heads held high, fully respectable, and we've gone at them. I think once or twice we've taken the lead. One of them times we got, was it the 1-1 draw or 2-1 loss? Yeah, it was 2-1 loss last season.
Yeah.
We went 1-0 up. And we were unlucky. We came out like kicking ourselves. We've had a draw against them, and then there was the last one. I'd probably say was probably mostly Man City, where I think Grealish scored, and I think that was more of a Man City game. But I don't think we changed the way we play.
No.
I think we've been changing the way we played previously. We've gone 2-0 up against West Ham in previous games throughout the season. That had been 4-0 at half time, game over. But we seem to have changed that mentality, like go for the jugular, which I started to love about us. And we've tried to revert to type to get the lead and try and hold it, which is not what we were doing. That's my thoughts, Jerome.
I don't think you'll see too much different in terms of how we play. I don't think. We're not going to sit back and invite pressure. That'd be silly. Look, we're playing against such a good team. They just knocked out Bayern Munich in the Champions League and made it look quite easy as well. So they've just. I think he's just got to hope that they put in a type of performance they did at Anfield in that first 35 minutes, because we've never done that to Liverpool before at Anfield or for years played like that.
Exactly. It says
we do that tomorrow night.
It's a testament to the team and the manager for us to go to Liverpool and feel like we lost after a draw. And I know they came back from 2-0 down, but still, And this is why I say it was a good point, because we just don't do that against Liverpool. Like we if this was any other season, we would have come out of the Liverpool game and been happy that we managed to come out with a draw. We'd have been happy. But it says a lot that we're now in a situation where we feel a bit gutted that we dropped points against Liverpool at Anfield. At Anfield, we'd been praying to get a point from Anfield previously, and now we're upset that we got a point. So, yeah, I know expectations change, but it shows where we've come, that we're coming out of them games like that. We're going toe-to-toe with Man City, getting a point or just about losing, and we're gutted, but still like happy with how we played. That doesn't happen often. Yeah. And I think that part of having that is why people hate us as well, because we're coming out of games losing and we're still like, that's a great performance. That's an excellent performance. Like, so yeah. One question though, if Arsenal don't win tomorrow, is that the season done? Steve?
Well, certainly it's going to make it a lot harder. It's called, no, it's not. It's not over with. It's just going to make it immensely harder for us. If we lose tomorrow, it means that there's still 2 points. We're still top of the league, whatever happens tomorrow, with the points in the bag. And then Man City have got to go away to Fulham the weekend. And then I think we've got Chelsea at home. So, look, Fulham won't be easy for Man City. So no, it's not over. It's not win or bust. It's not win if we win. It's not over. If we lose, it's not over. We've watched. We've been involved in enough Premiership races and watched enough Premiership races when we're not involved to know what can happen in the last 5 games, even when there's like a juggernaut like Man City on form. You can just switch off, and all of a sudden you can pick up a couple of draws, and all of a sudden the other team wins, and you're into the last 2 game of the season, you're behind. So look, it can happen. It's great. Look, we're in an incredible position to be where we are. I was saying off air, talking to Jerome, this is where we want to be, isn't it? This is what we want. This is why, you go through the whole season, you get to the last 5 games of the season, 6 games of the season, and you're going into a game which, many are calling the title decider, and your team's involved in it. What more can you ask for? Manchester United,
for us to win
fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans. You're not going to have that this season. Arsenal have got that, and we should be applauding them, and we should be looking forward. It's very hard to look forward to tomorrow. Part of me doesn't even want to watch the game tomorrow. I am that nervous. I'm going to be waking up tomorrow morning. I'm going to I wish I could just not watch it and then turn it on and see what the score is, and that we've won 1-0. I wish that could be my scenario tomorrow, but obviously that's not the way it's going to be. But no, it's not over. If we can win tomorrow and we can go 8 points clear, I tell you what, that is one hell of a gap. This is it. This tomorrow. This is it. Mikel Arteta would be telling the players in the dressing room, this is where you want to be. This is what we've worked hard for all season. This is what we've done the hours, done the minutes, done the yards on the training pitch. This is where you've got to be. There'll be players, they'll be talking amongst themselves, and they'll be saying to them, you win this tomorrow, you've got one hand on the title. And, hopefully pray to God we'll be coming on here on the post-match tomorrow. We've literally just massive smiles on our face because, I think you could say that whoever wins tomorrow's got one hand on it, but certainly not over. And I'm getting more and more nervous the more I'm speaking. It's terrible, but no, there's still a long way to go yet.
All right, Jerome. Last time Arsenal were in the situation where they come off the back of some poor results, had to play a team in Manchester, followed by a team called Chelsea. Arsenal won. Can they repeat that?
Yeah, everything's possible. Everything's possible. I think.
What we need, is the uncle line. What was that uncle line you gave us last time?
Yeah,
it's a funny old game.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't bet on football.
Yeah,
like you just can't. All your logical part of your brain is saying Man City are on fire. Arsenal have dropped points the last few games. Like they're in good form. We're not so much. Pressure's getting to us, and you would think, right, this result is only going to go one way, but it doesn't take a lot for something different to happen, whether that be an early goal, whether that be a player sent off for the opposition. Like things can happen. A refereeing decision, a VAR, something could come up which changes things. I think if we lose, for me, it's as good as over, because that means that City would have to drop points in at least 2 more games, and we'll have to be perfect. And that perfect includes Newcastle away, which, as we've recently seen, is a very tough ground to go to.
Yeah.
So I think if we draw, it's okay. It's not too bad.
I think we could draw.
Yeah, I think if we lose, I think it'll be very, very tough for us, like mentally, to get over that.
Yeah. I agree. I think there's a lot of emphasis on Arsenal having to win, but we've got to remember that if Arsenal draw against Man City, no points are gained from Man City.
It's not too bad.
And it's something that Jamie Carragher said last night, or the other day, because I think Mikel Arteta said Arsenal need to win this game. He can't really say anything else at the end of the day. If he says no and they go for a draw, you know what I mean? You want the mentality to sustain. You go for the jug and you want to win the game. And Gary Neville agreed, but Jamie Carragher said that no, you don't, because if there's 15 minutes left of the game and it's 0-0 or 1-0 and you're drawing, do you go for the game? Do you go for the win, or do you see it out and get that point? I think he said that Arsenal need to make sure that they keep level-headed and think balanced about the situation. It's not about making sure you come out of 3 points and making sure you don't drop any points. You don't make sure you don't lose any points on Man City, because you've still got games. They've still got games, and although people will make the prediction that they can see Manchester City not losing the game, not dropping any points to the end of the season, they've still got to do that. But what Arsenal needs to do is they need to make sure that they are doing their own thing. They need to make sure that they're getting the results, getting the 3 points, and keeping that pressure on City, or building that pressure on City. Because right now, every time City look, the pressure is alleviating. We're dropping 2 points each game. And that's only gonna give them confidence, and we need to. Yeah. That's the last thing we need to do is give Manchester City confidence.
Yeah, see, a draw's a good result. I think a draw wouldn't be a bad result. And the more and more I think about it, the draw wouldn't be a bad result at all, because we'd still, as you said, we'd still be 5 points in front. You know, and even if they won their next game, you know, which would maybe don't be a game in hand, they're still 2 points behind. And who's to say that they ain't going to pick up a draw? And then that's their games it up, even if they win a game. If they win one and draw one, Arsenal's still in front. I mean, what, a Man City, this incredible juggernaut that can't draw a football match against any team in the Premier League? It's absolute rubbish. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Well, I don't see him dropping points at Fulham.
Get true draws.
There's some tough games. They've got some teams in relegation. Everton, a team that I know it may be easy to write them off because they've been terrible this season, but they're going to be fighting for their lives. Brighton away from home. Chelsea, no matter what, Chelsea, it could be any Chelsea team. Hopefully Frank Lampard's not there, because if Frank Lampard's there, he might just give them the 3 points, because he's a terrible manager. But and
then they've got all these other games to play. They've got to play Real Madrid twice. They've got to play, you know, they're big games. Surely they've got to play a part. I'm not having all this. I keep hearing, oh yeah, it's Andy. We got to play Real Madrid. We can have a break. What?
The only thing I say about
injuries
about the Real Madrid is I look at Man City's squad, and from their starting lineup to their bench, they've got a ridiculous team. Like they can swap out players. That's the thing, and that's I think where Arsenal are starting to see their fragilities in their squad is you lose one of the key players, then your fullback, your backup, unless you're talking about Ben White to Tomiyasu, Zinchenko to Kieran, your backup is kind of falling off. It's not to the same level, and I think that's where Arsenal over the next 2 seasons will be bringing in those sorts of players. But right now we're not at Man City's level. I will go into ask you for the starting lineup in a minute. Jerome, if Arsenal finish this season without winning a trophy and not winning the league, would you class it as a failure?
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
What would you say to all those fans out there that say Arsenal, and I will get onto this one about the Arsenal 8 points.
Say that.
What would you say to the fans saying Arsenal 8 points clear and they bottled it?
I don't think we. For some reason, if any time you lose a game or you lose a league, you bottle it. Can't there just be like other incidents that mean that you don't win? Yeah, it's like the narrative, isn't it? Everyone's got to have a story. No, look, obviously we'll be disappointed because we were in a nice position, but we're not in a nice position against like an average football team.
Yeah,
like we're competing against with a very good chance of a team that are going to be the European champions that have had ridiculous amounts of money thrown at them over loads of years with probably the best manager in world football at the moment.
Yeah,
like it's like a reality check, isn't it? But yeah, of course, it would have been nice. If we don't win it, then yeah, that everyone will be upset and disappointed. But what a season we've had! Like, how often have we come on here praising this team, speaking about amazing football, amazing goals, performances that have been much better than years gone by. Like, yeah, it's so far an amazing season, amazing. Even if we don't win anything.
I asked you this last night, Steve. I'm sure I'll get the same answer. But how do you see the season if Arsenal don't win it?
It's been a great season, mate. It's been a fantastic season. As you said, like we would have never have said at the beginning of the season we'd be sitting here on the 25th of April on the eve of a title decider. Simple as that. Simple as that. Man United fans, Tottenham fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans. What are you doing tomorrow night? What are you doing? Apart from like United playing in the cup final, your seasons are over. We're sitting here on the verge of, probably 48 or 24 hours away from possibly having one hand on the Premiership title. And if someone would have said that to us at the beginning, we would have said, no chance. We'd just be happy if we got top 4. Well, we got top 4. We've got Champions League football. That when we was asked at the beginning of the season, what do you want? What is your expectations at the beginning of the season? We said, if we can get Champions League football, that'd be absolutely amazing. And we've done that.
6 games left.
Yeah, we've done it with 6 games left and some. And we've watched some incredible football. We've watched our young players go up to literally on the verge of world class level. We're a young team. We're only going to get better and better. We're going to be even stronger next year. We've got players. We're going to get more players coming in to strengthen us. We've got a fantastic young manager who's going to be here for the foreseeable future. Everything's fantastic at Arsenal, and the other teams behind us, apart from Man City, they've all got to build. They're still in progression. They're in a right state. Man United are probably on the way up a little bit. But the others, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, I mean, you just don't know where they're going to be. So it's been great. It's been great. Jerome Phillips, some great goals, some great games, coming from behind, some great moments. We're talking like the season's over yet, but it's we're not even near over yet. But no, it's for those who've been a failure. It's the people that are saying that are just hiding the failures of anybody that's watching your team. So that's all that is.
Yeah. And on the 8 points clear, I'd just like to, because what's annoying me is that no one's really speaking about this whole 8 points clear. Arsenal were 8 points clear at one point in the season, where everyone was level on points, and I think that's why people are having digs at Arsenal. But that was 18 games into the season. Now, this is what I don't understand. Arsenal were 8 points clear, 18 games into the season, when they still had to play Manchester City twice.
Yeah.
And yes, we dropped points against Everton, and we dropped points against these other teams, West Ham, not adding Liverpool there, and Southampton. But we still had to play Manchester City twice. Yeah. And that was 18 games into the season. So this shows you how much these people are trying to push that narrative that Arsenal have flopped. Arsenal need to be saying they're going to win the league. This was halfway through the season. We haven't even reached 20 games yet. And this was what people were trying to peddle. Just relax.
We're still the best team. We've still been the best team up to yet in the Premier League. So, and we're up against this. We keep saying it. We're up against this juggernaut called Manchester City, who are just relentless. And as you say, they probably win the Champions League. And so, how can you say that's a failure? We haven't got we haven't got Tottenham behind us. We ain't got Man United up.
Exactly.
We ain't got Chelsea. We ain't got Liverpool, who are having terrible seasons. They're not sitting in second. We've got one of the best, probably, arguably, the best planet, the best team in world football at the moment behind us, and we're above them. So how the hell is that a failure if you're sitting above the best team on the planet, for God's sake?
Yeah, and you've got to remember the Liverpool team that has been regarded as one of the greatest Liverpool teams ever, one of the best Premier League teams ever, only ever won the Premier League once against this Manchester City team that is chasing and breathing down our necks. So I agree. I'm on the same wave.
and this season they've added Ireland as well.
Yeah. Steve, let's give us your predicted lineup against Manchester City.
Oh, this is harder than what I thought. Jerome's made it difficult. He's made me think. I thought I was going to come here and just do an easy lineup, but now he's made me think. Well, look, if people are fit, we know Saliba's not fit, so. For me, it will be Ramsdale. I think it's too late to change anything. It'll be Ben White. It'll be Rob Holding. It'll be Gabriel. It will be Zinchenko. Although I will not be disappointed to see Kieran Tierney there. Do you know what? I've been thinking about it all day. I'm going to say it. I'll play Tierney, and the reason why I play that, I think he deal with Mahrez better. I think he's a better defender, and I think we will need to defend similar to when Tommy Ayew came in to mark Salah because he needed to mark him. I think we'd be at the Etihad. We'd need to do the same with Mahrez. So I'm putting a little bit of a spoke in the work, and I'm going to say Kieran Tierney, Partey, Xhaka. Fingers crossed. If he's not fit, Jorginho, Martin Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, Saka.
All right, Jerome, what's your starting lineup?
I think it'll be the same team that he's played recently. I don't think there'll be any changes. I think Granit Xhaka will play. They've been trying to get Saliba fit, and he's got a broken back. So the fact that Xhaka's been a bit ill, he'll play, he'll start, and that'll be it. I don't think there'll be any other. It'll just be the usual team.
Would you play Tierney though? What about you though, Jerome? Would you play? With what I just said there, did it register anything? You think, or was you nah, still Zinchenko?
Yeah, I wouldn't play him instead of Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko is probably one of the first names on the team sheet.
I think because it's changed our style of play too much.
Yeah, exactly. Our build up basically comes through Zinchenko.
I think that's his reservation, isn't it? I don't think he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't rate Kieran Tierney as a player. He likes Kieran Tierney. I just think the contrasting styles is so different to what Arsenal play. It changes the way we play. Like it's not like you're bringing someone in and he does that job, and it's not even like Mikel Arteta doesn't want someone to come in and do a job. He doesn't want Kieran Tierney to play Kieran Tierney style of football. He wants Kieran Tierney to play Zinchenko style, and Kieran Tierney struggles at that because he's a very good defender.
Is it just the inverted midfield role that you're saying that he struggles with, or is it something else?
I think it's the inverted midfield role, and I think if Arsenal had a right back who could go inverted midfield, I think we'd see more of Kieran Tierney, because I think that Kieran Tierney is capable of slotting into the back three option. He's played it for Scotland. Tomiyasu's not overly tall. Kieran Tierney can header. He's a very good defender. He can play that role, and I think hopefully we see that option as another option as a right back who can play, because I don't see us not getting another full back. Arsenal, it's the way we play. It's their style. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Steve, give us your score prediction.
1-0. 1-0 to Arsenal. I think we're going to see a Viltord and a Mark Overdar's moment.
Oh no, Jesus! Now, anyone that don't know who Sylvain Viltord is, he's a very underrated player from Arsenal. A lot of people. I see. Sometimes I see in the papers flops. How can you put Sylvain Viltord as a flop for Arsenal?
He was a really good player.
He's a well good player. I used to really like him. It was only because Thierry Henry came in that Sylvain Viltord got pushed to the sidelines. But that's Thierry Henry. Like, come on. And who's your goal scorer, Steve?
Well, I'd love it to be Jesus. What you?
Yeah, set up by Zinchenko.
Or Zinchenko with an absolute bullet shot. You know, my ideal scenario would be like a minute to go, 0-0, and Xhaka or Zinchenko gets a free kick from outside the box and just buries it. Now, I'll tell you what, it's got to be Granit Xhaka, in it, from outside the box. I mean,
well, for you, it's going to be Granit Xhaka, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it would just like, I mean, he's already proved me right, so, but over the years, but yeah, that would be sweet. I must admit, very sweet, and he's capable of it. But I think Saka, I'm going to go for Saka and 1-0.
All right, Jerome. What's your score prediction?
I'm really not feeling confident, but
you're never confident.
No, I'll go 1-1 Martinelli. He's been on fire, Martinelli, recently.
And who's scoring for Man City? The Viking.
There's only one player, isn't there?
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Bobby Aldinho is going to mark him out of the game. You watch.
He's going to be in his pocket. He's going to be in his pocket.
He's got his little Viking out with the two horns coming out. And
you know what they say?
Out of his pocket.
You know what they say? You know what they say? From your mouth to God's ears. Hopefully that's what will happen.
There we go.
I have no idea what that means, but it sounded really good.
Your prayers will be answered, is what it means. Your prayers will be answered.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right. Okay.
Let me answer Russ's one. If we don't win the title, of course, it would be disappointing, but it would also be a massive missed opportunity. Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool surely won't be inconsistent next season. And you know what? Yeah, I can't buy into this. And I get what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying, Russ. It's a sentiment of many other people. But I'm just not buying into it, man. Because last season was Arsenal's best chance to get top four. Because Newcastle will be stronger. Man United will be stronger. Liverpool will be stronger. Liverpool. Chelsea are Chelsea. And Man City obviously are going to get that spot. So I just don't buy into the notion that everyone else is automatically going to be stronger, because Liverpool are a shit state. Like, they've got no midfield, and they need to buy 2 central midfielders. They're not one midfielder is not going to be enough. They need to buy 2 central midfielders, and those 2 central midfielders need to hit the ground running for Liverpool to be back to where they were. They need to be at the level that Henderson was and Wijnaldum was in that centre for them to be where they were last season or season before. And what's the chance in that? What's the chances? They've got to go out and buy £50 million midfielders, 2 of them, and they've got to hit the ground running. One of them will probably be Mason Mount. He ain't no Genie Wijnaldum. he ain't that energy. He's not a Henderson in his prime. So I just don't buy into it. Chelsea have got an overinflated squad. They've had to extend their dressing room. They've got disgruntled players that don't know whether they're going to be playing next season. And they have got a chairman who's just going willy-nilly and buying anything that moves. Why are they going to be any better?
But we're above Man City.
Don't take this as me digging you out. This is the way I talk, mate. Yeah,
but we're above Man City.
I just don't buy into the notion that all these teams are going to be better. Man United, maybe, but we got accused of being flat track bullies last season. Tell me why Man United are not flat track bullies. Like, tell me where in Man United that they've overly impressed you with what their squad they've got, because they haven't impressed me. Individuals, Marcus Rashford, Casemiro's done a job. He's managed to get a lot out of other players that you thought didn't have careers. Do you know what I mean? The fact that you can get Wan-Bissaka playing, it needs to be lauded. But I don't see anything of Man United where I'm like, this team is coming for us. Nah, I just don't. I think people over exaggerating. They won a Carabao Cup where they had to play no one. And I'm not taking it away from anyone, but I'm just saying they've had to face no one in that Carabao Cup run.
I forgot who they played.
FA Cup run. They've had a very easy FA Cup run. And then when they got a half decent team in Europe, they flopped. So I just don't buy into this notion that Eric Ten Hag is the guy that's turned Man United around, because I don't think he has. I think he'll have another tough season next season, a season where if they can get top 4 and win a trophy, that's a good season. And then maybe the following season you'll be talking about, can they fight for the league? But definitely not next season. I just don't see it. So who does that leave? Newcastle, they'd be stronger. And Man City, of course, they'd be stronger. But I don't believe Liverpool and Chelsea, unless Chelsea can get a decent manager and get players off the books. I just don't see it.
Tottenham will be relegation next year.
You notice how I didn't even mention Tottenham, because Tottenham were also one of the teams that were meant to be above us this season, and they've not done anything. So in my opinion, I don't believe in that notion that all these other teams are going to be stronger. They could be likely a little bit stronger, but I don't see any of those Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea being the teams that they were. I mean, Man United will be slightly better, but I don't see Chelsea and Liverpool.
But we're going to get stronger as well, aren't we? We're going to get stronger.
And that's what Arsenal needs to do. They need to make sure that they are going out and buying top-class players in the summer transfer window. And then if they need reinforcements, going out and getting that in January. The last 2 summers, I've been extremely happy. We come out with Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. The previous season, we were all happy with what we got as well. Started off with Ben White, finished off with Tomiyasu. So if we can have a summer where we get our targets, Declan Rice we're talking about, Moses Caicedo we're talking about. Like if we can bring in those players, there's no reason why we're not talking about Arsenal having a title challenge next season as well. On that note, Arsenal did finish the Youth FA Cup. They lost 4-1, or is it still going? Last time I checked, it was 4-1. 4-1 against West Ham. I think the game is over. Yep, I think the game's over. I think it finished 4-1. Unlucky to Arsenal did well to get to the final. Jack Wilshere's first season as manager. And congratulations on that. Congratulations getting on the final. Unlucky, and I'm sure we will see you there again. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate.
And thank you for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Thanks.
All right. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you are new to the show, hit that subscribe. If you are a regular, hit that like and hit that share button. Make sure you catch us tomorrow for the post-match reaction of the Manchester City game. Big game. Peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.